Hi, I'm William Westley-Richards, and today this video is to introduce to those of you who have never fired or possibly never seen the world's most powerful handgun, the 44 Magnum. And here it is. The first thing you notice about this gun is the size. My hands are big, but this gun makes them seem quite small. A better comparison could be another iconic gun. You can see this is the 1873 Colt 45, also known as the Peacemaker, also known as the cowboy gun. If you've ever seen a Western, you will have seen this gun. Now, ignoring barrel lengths, because this is the 44 Magnum is 7.5 inch, this is 5.5 inch. Can you see the difference in size of the cylinders, the frame, and the grips? This is such a huge gun. As I say, the world's most powerful handgun. One other interesting thing while comparing these two guns is that this is made in 1873, so this is about 140 years old, this model. This gun is 30 years old, made in 1983 to 1984. I can tell that from the Ruger serial number. So we're talking about a difference of 110 years, and yet so little difference in external design. However, inside there's some major improvements on this gun. One of the most important is the springs are coil springs. They're made of coil piano wire. They're virtually indestructible. As in fact is this whole gun. This is armoured stainless steel. Even the grips are hardwood. I think this is walnut. If I put this gun in a drawer, I think in 500 years' time someone will be able to come and take it out and it'll just work straight off the bat. Now, it's a double action gun. That means to say that when I pull the trigger, three things happen. The cylinder starts to rotate to bring the next chamber into line with the barrel. The hammer starts to come back, and when fully squeezed, the gun will then fire. It's what we call double action. The disadvantage is that all that requires approximately a 9-pound pull on my trigger. That is going to move the muzzle off the target. It's too much. So I advise you always fire this gun single action. You cock it, you aim it, and you squeeze the trigger, and you'll get rid of any movement. In fact, a lot of guns you can't dry fire like that, but this particular gun you can dry fire in complete safety. You can double action dry fire it, or you can single action dry fire, and Ruger encourage you to do so. Like a lot of double action guns, the cylinder is on a swivel. It comes out, and the beauty of this is you've got 6 chambers, ejector rod, so it's quick to change to reload, to empty and reload. Also, you can load all 6, close the gun up, put it down, and it's completely safe. If I drop it, and if I accidentally drop this gun, and on the way down the hammer hits the table, it won't go off. If I load the single action with 6 rounds, and I drop it, and the hammer hits the table, the slightest tap is gonna make this gun fire, because the hammer is resting on a live round. In the double action gun it's not, because there's a transfer bar, internal transfer bar, and that separates the hammer from the live round, and it only moves down once I start to pull the trigger. So this gun is completely safe. it's also very powerful. And it fires a powerful bullet. This is a fairly standard 44 Magnum round. And so you can see, compare it to, I don't know if you can see that, that's a 45 ACP, that's for a standard 1911 model automatic. That's the 44 Magnum round. This is a T2 Magnum round. And somewhere we have a T2 long rifle. Perhaps this is the most ubiquitous round in the world. There's probably more rounds of T2 long rifle than anything else. Look at the difference in size. And this T2 travels for a mile, or so it says on the box. The round is also soft-nosed. It's what we call half metal jacket. Can you see that? Half metal jacket, a bit of copper coming up there. So on impact, it mushrooms to cause maximum trauma to a soft target. This is incidentally, the 44 Magnum is a hunting revolver and a target revolver. Apart from its power, despite its power, it's an extremely accurate gun. At the back we have an adjustable rear sight, and at the front we have a sort of luminous point, which in this case is pink, it can be blue or green, so that on a day like today when there's dull light, or in a forest like we are with brush scrub, I never lose sight of my foresight. I can always keep the gun on target, whether I'm hunting or whether I'm target shooting. So it's very accurate. But you don't get to fire this sort of bullet without a lot of noise and a lot of kick. And the reason I said earlier you want to practice dry firing is so you get over anticipating the kick, which is called flinching. You've got to learn to keep the muzzle on the target between shots as far as you can. At the end of the gun, at the barrel, there are two ports or vents, and the object of these is to release some of the pressure to reduce the kick. You never get rid of it, but it does reduce it a bit. Doesn't affect the performance, doesn't affect the accuracy, doesn't affect the power of the bullet. The bullet has left the muzzle before the vents reduce the pressure. The bullet leaves the muzzle, this particular round, at depending upon the load, between 1,200 and 1,600 feet per second. And this is a heavy bullet, this is a 240 grain bullet. So you can see that it's a pretty powerful gun, but it's a pretty noisy gun. But as I said, it's also a very safe gun because of the transfer bar, because of the lock. There's a little lock here that can lock the slide that allows me to open the cylinder. You need a little tiny jeweler's screwdriver to do it, but I can close the gun and lock it, and then it's impossible to open the cylinder and load it. So if, for example, you've got kids around and you got the gun out, it's completely safe. Right. I said earlier you can eject 6 rounds and you can load 6 rounds almost as fast as you can with an automatic. I haven't got a speed loader today, but if you have a speed loader, as I'll show you in a minute, I'll show you on a 357 Magnum actually, which I've got one loaded here now. If I fire this, I'm going to fire this very quickly, double action, to show you how quickly we can fire it and reload it. So I'm just going to fire down the range. I'm firing at the 50-meter range. Can you, am I in film? Whack in another 6. Now that is just as fast as firing a 45 automatic, taking the magazine out, loading a new magazine. The only difference is you've got 8 shots here and you've got 6 shots here. But going back to the 44 Magnum, 6 shots of this, I can assure you, worth 8 shots of the 45 automatic, the 45 long Colt. Okay, so let's see how loud this gun is. I'm going to load up 6 Winchester 44 Magnum rounds. Close the sight, close the cylinder, and let's take out, see if we can take out some bottles. Ear protectors on for this one. As I said, it's a noisy gun. Oh. And the last one. Whoa! Now I don't know if you're able to see the flash. You might be able to see a flash come out of the end of the muzzle. Open it, eject all 6 bullets out, and there's the empty gun. This, as I said, is the world's most powerful handgun. It's a hunting gun. It's a target gun. It's not a self-defense gun. The best gun, in my opinion, for self-defense in the world is what I call the baby sister. It's the 357 Magnum. And I think you can see they're pretty identical, but everything on this gun is a tiny bit smaller, including the rounds. But this has huge power. Don't be fooled. Just because it's smaller than a 44 Magnum, it's the best defensive weapon I think you can have. This is the gun you want on your bedside table, on your nightstand. This, I don't care how high on drink or drugs your assailant may be, one shot from this gun would take him out. Especially when you're using the 357 Magnum soft nose bullets. This gun is purely for hunting, not self-defense. This gun won't take your assailant out, it will take him apart. So don't even think about it. This particular gun is featured on the front of my website, Westley-Richards.com, and I hope this video has inspired you to fire it one day. Put it on your bucket list. Maybe fire with me one day. Till then, safe shooting.